What is this artifact that we find in all Tibetan Buddhist gompas?
So I think one of the things that the wheel of life represents is life itself. Because within is a teaching of the Buddha. When Buddha explains about life, there you go. Okay, he's like, get out of here. Get out of here.
We don't have any food, no hot chips.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So-
as you were saying.
Samsara. So I think it's about life, because when Buddha explained about life, for us human beings, categorization is very important, especially when it comes to knowledge. The more categorized things are, the easier for us to understand. Right? So when talk about life, there are certain teachings in Buddhism that implement the true nature of reality, of when it comes to experience, when it comes to understanding, when it comes to theories, when it comes to beliefs, when it comes to system, and when it comes to structure. Now, one of the teachings of Buddha, I think represented in one of his first teachings, which basically talks about the Four Noble Truths. I think one of the important aspects of the Four Noble Truths is impermanence. And the wheel of life, I think that would be the first thing that it represents, is impermanence. Impermanence of change, impermanence of time, impermanence of value, impermanence of reality itself. The second thing is it reflects our own mind, I think, right? Because our mind is composed of so many different things, from emotion to thoughts to values to constructs of views and ideas, perspectives, so on and so forth. So I think that's the second thing it teaches, is it shows us how vast our mind is. The third thing initiates is life itself. Like I said, we live in so many different worlds. Everyone lives in their own world. Right? Everyone has their own bubble, their own small world, their own family and their business and their, whatever it is. And that's their world. Beyond that world, not so much is known. Right? If you're a doctor, then that's your world as a doctor. And if you go into farming, then that's your world, farming, looking after animals, feeding them, producing milk and cheese and so on and so forth, and that becomes your world. And if you are a practitioner, practice becomes your world, and the other things are on the side. So the construct of the world in a nutshell, basically. When it comes to explaining of the world, I think in Abhidharma there's a very, very detailed explanation of how the construct of world was explained 2600 years ago by the Buddha himself. And some of them are irrelevant in the modern age with all the modern technologies and the discoveries that we have made. Yes, some of those are invalid, but the construct of the whole system of cause and condition constructed into this beautiful image, which represents life and impermanence and mind and thought process, is so beautifully done that it's easy to understand, it's easy to relate to, it's easy to construct, and I think also it gives us a whole different view on this painting itself gives us, or this picture itself, this pictography itself gives us such a vast understanding of not just our outer world but also our inner world. And basically I would say that's what the wheel of life represents. Now the construct of, I think, where the impermanence comes into play is, it comes into play when we say the word wheel, because the wheel turns around, and basically I think the whole diagram was created through the idea of, in the early days they had chariots, right? We call them horse chariots. So they looked at the wheel, and the wheel keeps on turning and turning and turning and turning, and that's where the idea of the wheel came, because the impermanence, the change, the constant moving, that came into play. So this, I think, that word wheel represents the idea of impermanence. Now when you look within the chakra itself, or within the mandala itself, it represents, I think, right in the middle, it represents the emotions and how the wheel starts to spin. It starts to spin through emotions. Generally, I think there's a lot of emotions, but then here it's represented by 3 emotions, and those also 3 destructive emotions. Now, comparatively, I believe that there has to be a wheel of life that explains samsara, how we end up in samsara, and a wheel of life that explains how we get out of samsara, because the pictography that we normally have of the 3 poisons, we call it, right, the 3 mental obscuration poisons, and that's how we turn in samsara or in the wheel of life. And so I believe that there has to be another chakra or another mandala that explains the opposite of the 3 poisons, that shows us the wheel of liberation in some ways. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but something to consider maybe in later on projects. But
later on,
yeah,
for sure.
but for now, I think yes, the wheel of life, in the middle it explains the emotions, then circling the emotions are the realms. And I think for a lot of people, when you talk about realms, we are talking about outer realms, as in the worldly, the earth as it is. Scientifically you talk about the earth and different earths, not exactly earths, but planets outside of our solar system, in different solar systems that carry life forms, and different kinds of life forms with different kinds of views and aspects and livelihoods and so on and so forth. So similar to that, here within the mandala of the wheel of life explains the 6 different realms: the god realm, the demigod realm, the human realm, and then we have the animal realm, and then we have the hungry ghost realm, and the hell realm.